So look, the weak criticism, I mean, it's kind of like a meme at this point, to me at least, because I've been hearing this for a long time, is, oh, this is indentured servitude, slavery, how dare you? And I'm like, that's literally the opposite of what this is, right? Like if you want, I'm giving you money with no strings attached. I don't own any of your work product. This isn't a record label deal, right? I understand that if you don't think about it, you might jump to that conclusion very quickly, right? But it's actually exactly the opposite of what this is. If anything, if you want to be political about it, I make the argument that debt looks a heck of a lot more like indentured servitude than what we're doing here.
Yeah, I mean, it basically is the same device. Indentured servitude and debt were the same device. You owe me money. In one case, it was massively predatory. And I guess if we argued higher education, it used to be cool, like in our generation, and then it became pretty gnarly today.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I think these things are all products that have their purpose and time and place. But I think the really important thing to understand what we're doing is we don't own any work product. We make no decisions. People have talked about, there have been some experiments before that I've seen on the internet of people being like, oh, I sold shares of myself to my friends and they vote as a board on who I date or something. And you're like, that's like the opposite. Like
that's ridiculous.
You don't have to do anything under our deal. Like we're just doing a long-term, arrangement, that is completely hands off. So I think that's like the weak criticism. Look, I mean, the stronger criticism I actually say is economic, right? And here's some of the problems we face. One, there's no data to back test this model on. So you say, what is 5% of Marina's earnings worth, right? Really? We have to come to an arrangement and have a model we run. But until we've done this a bunch, pricing it properly is very hard to know, right? And I think that's like a legitimate criticism. Second legitimate criticism, there's no downstream market, right? So you and I are early stage investors. We invest and then someone else comes and marks us up and someone takes it public and there's a whole ecosystem around it. There's no ecosystem here, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's one of one deal.
Right, so there's no ecosystem. So until there's an ecosystem, there's actually in some ways a financial penalty to that, right? Like from a strict financial perspective in terms of how you can price these things. So look, I'm not afraid of the criticism. I have to admit, I kind of thrive on being told I'm wrong. So I'm happy to be told I'm wrong about all these things. I do think sometimes you just have to go act.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing something innovative, like there's going to be questions. And so just thinking this through, if she became the ultimate social media star, they tend to generate 20, 30, 40, $50 million a year in revenue. That is like what YouTubers do. And then if you had Kim Kardashian, maybe on the margins, it could be $100 million a year.
That's today.
That's today.
And I think the reality is, I think that's today. And I think the reality is when you think forward, I think there's a strong argument that the power of the best personalities and brands will only increase in the coming years. So, we'll see what this looks like in 10 years or more. I mean, I think, we'll say, I believe there should be a whole financial ecosystem around this. I believe that actually, crypto will help accelerate our move into that much faster, right? You can think about how
so?
Well, you think about like, how are we going? Let's pretend someday, not today, in 10 years, we want to IPO Marina, right? Or sell our shares in Marina in some way, shape, or form for liquidity for our investors. Is Marina going to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange? Hard to see that tomorrow, right?
Yeah. It did happen with David Bowie, right? He sold, I think, the rights to his music. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Bowie Bonds is different because it was Bowie Bonds, but it was actually secured by his catalog, right? Which is the opposite of what we're doing. So like slightly different.
Backward looking instead of forward looking.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it is possible. I think, with, think of the Lieberman's Co., like, could that ever go public? Absolutely.
Sure.
We'll see how that works. But I think, the reality is crypto just allows you to compose new financial markets much more easily ever than before. And so, when you squint, because we were long-term investors here, slow ventures, we think from the long term, it's like, in 10 years, how do these things intersect? Do you get new pools of liquidity? Do you get new pools of interest in it? I mean, I think you can see how these things come together, if not exactly, at least thematically.
And if she creates a company and she winds up owning 50% of it, which is possible as a solo founder, even 40%, hey, you could wind up owning 5%, they own 2% of it. And if she creates the next Skims or whatever, LinkedIn, you could have
multiple of them. I mean, or multiple. I mean, I think the thing to keep in mind is just the tailwind is towards creators in these kind of communities being more and more powerful. And look, as early stage investors, we always just want to be aligned with the founders anyway. Like, what are you really doing? Like, you're investing in a company half the time as a seed investor. And you think the thing's going to pivot 10 times before you know what you've invested in anyway. You're fundamentally backing the people, right? So when you kind of mish these ideas together, it just seems logical to just directly invest in the people.
Do you want to increase your online security? Well, don't we all? If so, you need to hear about NordVPN. NordVPN offers a VPN, that stands for Virtual Private Network, with benefits such as helping customers stay safe online, and you get to access content from over 59 different countries by changing your virtual location with just one click, and you're never gonna miss your favorite show again. This keeps you safe while using public Wi-Fi, which can be a goldmine for hackers. I tell you this because I have sensitive information. I use NordVPN to protect myself anytime my phone, my iPad, my laptop, my Chromebook is out on the road. I need to protect myself. And I was in Italy. The girls wanted to watch something on Disney Plus. It was like, we don't have Disney Plus in Italy. Boom, put my VPN on. We're back in the game. NordVPN has an amazing Cyber Month deal for my listeners, Twist listeners. It's amazing how affordable VPNs are. You can now get, in the United States, I kid you not, NordVPN for about $3 a month. Go to NordVPN.com/twist or use the code TWIST at checkout, and you're going to get, I kid you not, 73% off your 2-year plan plus a bonus gift. Just buy the 2-year plan. This way you don't have to worry about it. You need to be safe, and NordVPN is how you're going to do that. NordVPN.com/twist.